Full Airtable Project Management Demo 2023 Full Airtable Tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to be discussing about Airtable and how you can use it to manage all your projects, accelerate your work. So we're going to be discussing it all in great depth, so make sure to watch this video till the end. So yeah, without further ado, let's just, get straight into it. To get yourself straight into it, you're going to come up here to their page, which is www.airtable.com. And once you're over here, basically, you're going to come to the sign up for free sign over here. So we're going to click on sign up for free. And once you've clicked on sign up for free, it's going to bring you over here. Okay. Now, here we are. Okay. Now, obviously, I've already signed up with my account, but I'm going to take you through the whole process of how you're gonna do it. Okay, so sign up for free. They're gonna bring you to the sign up page. Okay, now the sign up page, they're gonna ask you your details about your company and all that stuff. So it's gonna ask you that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up here. Now I'm gonna be using a temp mill to sign myself up. Okay, now I'm just using a temp mill because it's for the video purposes, and I'm not gonna be using this account anytime soon. But I'd recommend that you use a proper email for yourself, because you're probably doing this. I'm under the impression that you're watching this video because you're going to be doing this for the long term. And in the long term, using a proper Gmail email for yourself is more wise. So yeah, I just recommend using that. Now, once you're cleared out and you're ready to use a proper Gmail, what you're going to do is you're going to take your email and you're just going to paste it over here. Okay, as so. Now, once you've pasted your email, what's going to happen is from there on out, you're going to click on continue. And once you click on continue here, they're going to ask you your first and last name. So I'm just going to, go ahead and enter mine. So once I've entered my name, from here on out, enter a strong, well-made password for yourself as so. So I'm just going to enter that. There we go. Now, once you do that, you're going to click on continue. And once you click on continue, it's going to bring you to the whole setup process. Okay. Now in the setup process, it's going to ask you all these things. Okay. So what team are you on? This will help us personalize your experience in Airtable. Okay. Now we're going to slowly start telling them a little about ourselves. So you obviously have all these different things that you can choose from. Marketing, you have HR and legal, product and design, creative production, engineering, customer service, operations, finance, IT and support, manufacturing, sales, and other personal stuff that you need to work on. There's also personal work management that you can also access. Now, what you're going to do is obviously choose whatever you're going to go with. I'm going to go with let's go with IT and support. Now I'm going to click on continue. Now, get more work done with your team. So obviously over here, you can start adding your users and contacts directly. And this is one of the greatest features that Airtable provides you, that when you're signing up with them, they automatically give you the feature of adding contacts directly if you want to. So you can get straight into the work. But obviously, I'm not going to do that. There's also an option for copying the link. If you copy the link and paste it in, your workspace, you have Slack, you maybe work on Microsoft Teams, all that stuff. So if you paste it there, from there on out, obviously the people can just click on the link. And once they click on the link, they will automatically join your workspace. So I'm just going to skip this for now, obviously. And now it's going to show us this. So get up and running fast. Make your data more powerful by moving it to Airtable. Okay. Now, obviously, this data has Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, CSV, and paste table data. Now, obviously, this is your CSV files for your Excel, where you have data filled in tables and rows with commas and stuff. So this is obviously to add data more quickly, you could say. Now I'm going to obviously skip this part as well. Now here we are. Welcome. Let's get started with, your main, you could say, Airtable workspace. So I'm currently working on, so you could add a project. Let's say you're currently working on coding an app. Okay, let's call it that because we're IT. Okay, so coding an app, then pick a theme color. Okay, this could be anything. I'm gonna go with purple. And once you do that, you're gonna click on continue. Now we'll add some info. I'd like to track projects, team tasks. You can choose all of them if you want to, but I'm gonna go with I want to track, projects because we're doing project management. So once you do that, as you can see, those projects include quarterly launch, customer research, campaign analysis. Then you also have teams, okay? You can track teams if you want to, and those teams can include the sales team, HR, marketing, and all that stuff. Then you also have task tracking. So in this, you can define goals, targets, create a work back plan, finalize budget, and all that stuff. And you can also add your own if you want to, okay? Now, obviously, I'm going to stay in projects and I'm going to click on continue. Now, here we are. Great job. Let's keep going. For each project, I'd also like to track, you have your status, priority, start date, deadline, assets, tags, flag, assignee, add your own, all this stuff. So again, you can choose all of these, but for now, in like the setup process, you can only choose 4 because obviously they're gonna start creating a, you could say, table that works nicely, like works well along with all this stuff. So I'm just gonna, choose the top 4 that will work, you could say, best in my retrospect, in my context. So here we are. For each project, I'd like to also track, let's go with status, like, what the, you could say, work status is currently. Then you have your priority. Priority is basically, you could keep the task at low, medium, or high priority. Then you have start date. Okay, start date could be whatever you want to go with. And then you could also keep a deadline, or you can keep assignee because these both are pretty important. A deadline would be better, and I'm just going to go and continue. So we will handle it auto-magically. This is obviously your automations. If you don't know what automations are when one action triggers another action. That's what automation is. And we're going to be discussing it more in depth later in the video. But roughly that's what automation is. And you can like connect and automate directly right now if you want to. Now, I'm just going to click on create my own workflow later. I don't want to, get into the nitty-gritty details right now. See your info in a new light. In addition to a grid, I'd also like to see my data as a, you could see it as a Kanban, a gallery, calendar view, grid only, all this stuff. So I guess the best that works in my case, the best would be Kanban, but you can go with any of these. Okay, you have countless and endless choices. In my opinion, Kanban would work best for me, so I'm just going to keep it at that. Now, once you choose all of that, it's going to basically bring you over here. So experience all of Airtable with a 14-day trial of Pro. Obviously, Pro is going to be their main Pro plan, and once you sign up with Airtable and everything, you're going to be on their 14-day Pro plan. Now, their 14-day Pro plan, like a great feature to, work along with. And like it doesn't have a free plan on it, essentially. So you're going to have to work with like the trials and everything. And, obviously after the 14 days, if you like what you're working with, you can always go ahead and buy it. So, ready to build your base? We're here to help you get started with Airtable. Here are a few things to try next, okay? Now, obviously, they give you all these things that you can check out if you want to. I'm just gonna, get that out of the way because I don't really want to mess around with that stuff. Now, once obviously we've discussed all that, it's gonna basically, bring you over here. Now, it brings you directly into your main table. Now, what I want to do is I don't want to be here right now. I want to go ahead and, discuss it from like the basics. So here I am on my Airtable main page. Okay, now in the main page, obviously, this is, you could say, the home page. Now, in the home page, basically, it gives you all this stuff. Okay, now obviously here it says start from scratch, create a new blank base with custom tables, fields, and views. Then you have quickly upload where you can easily migrate your existing projects in just a few minutes. Then you also have start with templates where you can select a template to get started and customize as you go. Okay. Then you have a lot of other stuff as well, like templates, marketplace, universe, import, all these features that you can work around with. And obviously there's more features, but you can upgrade it to unlock more power basically. Now, obviously, you're going to see all your workspaces down here, your projects, your workspaces, all that stuff. Now, as you can see, coding an app, this is one of my workspace, but you can also add more workspaces accordingly if you want to. And obviously, if we were to head on into templates, this is where you can, see different types of templates that people have, created for you previously. And these templates obviously work great because they've been tested and fully, worked along with. And it's just, pretty fun to work with, and it makes your life and work much easier because they're already made for you. You won't have to go ahead and, just start it from scratch. You get what I mean. So now, once we're over here, okay, so let's close this. Okay, once we're over here, obviously, here we have our main interface, and in our main interface, we can see, as I told you, all these things. So start from scratch, quickly upload, and start with templates. So you have all this stuff. You also have marketplace, okay? Now you're probably wondering what marketplace is. Marketplace is for basically your marketing teams, page designers, scripters, etc. And you get all these extensions, which are, you could say, in a way, they're integrations, okay? And basically, these integrations again make your work much easier and simpler and easily accessible, okay? So that's what integrations do, and you could check them out in marketplaces later on if you want to. But what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to go on bases, and you could also like discuss the basis of, all your markets and work if you want to. Now, again, there's like a lot of, you could say, integrity and features to discuss. So obviously your main work will consist around here, but let's go ahead and discuss how you're going to add workspace. So you're going to go in all workspaces, click on the plus sign, and as you can see, you just added a workspace. Now just give it a name. Okay, I'm going to call it new WS, which means new workspace. I'm going to click it, and there you go. Just created a workspace. Now, once the workspace is created, you can add bases to it. So create a base, and as you can see, you have an untitled base over there. And I'm going to name it, let's call it school, okay? I'm going to call it school, and there you go. You have a whole base now. Now, if I, go back, there you go. This is a workspace, and in this workspace, we have a base as so. And obviously in this workspace as well, like this is our first workspace, and in this first workspace we, added the coding and app thing. And obviously you can add more bases in this workspace as well. Now, again, like if I did create a base, obviously go ahead and add more stuff. Like let's go with implementing the app design. Okay, we're just gonna call it that. Click on enter, and there you go. So you've implemented the app design, and there you are. It's pretty easy stuff. Now, again, you have the table. You can rename the table if you want to and all that stuff. You have different views as well. Okay, in the views, obviously, you get all these views like grid, form, calendar, gallery, Kanban, timeline, list, Gantt, all that stuff. And then you also can add basically blank tables if you want to. So let's say if you add a blank table, it's called table 2, and then obviously you can choose different forms of views in this situation as well. But yeah, now up here, as you can see, you see all these things like automations, interfaces. These are also equally important when it comes to your project management. And you're probably wondering why. It's because, as I told you, like automations are just, auto AI bots that just do a few not a few things, a lot of things for you. Like let's say sending emails automatically. If one task occurs, it's going to do the other itself, all that stuff. And then interfaces are obviously, your user interface, which makes your life much easier for you. Now, let's say we're over here implementing the app design. So you could put in tasks like, let's say, discuss. Let's say I'm going to randomly add something like innovate. You could add, let's say, take opinion, or take opinion. And then finally, implement based on opinion. Okay, now once you add this stuff, you can also go ahead and mess around with the settings of your task. So if I were to click on this task over here, as so, as you can see, you can add different things to it. So you can add subtasks as so. So we have notes, and in notes you can, as you can see, insert fields if you want to, filter these fields, edit the field if you want to. You could change it to, single line text, checkbox, multiple select, all this stuff. So let's change it to edit field. Let's change it to a checkbox. Okay, there we go. And let's call it sub task. Let's call it that. I'm going to click on enter, and look at that. It's a checkbox now. So people can checkbox this thing. And how cool is that? Like you have endless possibilities to add features and keep on adding features in your Airtable. And as I said, like I'm going to emphasize on this a lot. You have endless features and endless possibilities. And obviously these things that you can see in front of you, like checkboxes and all these things, these are there to, keep your workspace comfortable, keep your workspace warm so people can, work more comfortably with each other. And it just, improves work ethic and it improves the collaborative mindset between your workers. Then again, you have status as so. If you click on the status section, as you can see, you can change the status if you want to. So you can change it to do. Then you have in progress. You have done. You can add a status by yourself if you want to. So that's obviously for like you could say upper. Like you're gonna need to have a better plan for that, a more upgraded plan. Then you can also add colors. So if you select field, as you can see, you can change color for the statuses. You can also group like let's say subtask. Look at that. You can add a group of a subtask. So I'm just gonna control Z that. Okay. And again, just add different groups. You can do different groupings of tasks if you want to add different subtasks with, their check marks and everything. Then you can also go ahead and add fields if you want to. Okay. So like let's say there's this feature, link to another record. So as we can see, we're on table 1 right now. We can link it to table 2. Okay. So if we link it to table 2 and we click on create field. Okay. I'm going to skip that. And look at this. It created a hold field, you could say, and it linked it to this. Now, obviously, we don't have anything over here, so I'm just going to, add random gibberish. So just so we know that we, have stuff. And once you have those things, again, I'm going to come here, table 2. Wait, I'm going to control Z that. Now, once you've done that, do that again, link to another record, table 2, create field. And once this field is created, you can start adding existing records as so. Look at that. How simple and easy does that make your project management for you? So you can link two tables together and then you can add the corresponding, you could say, information and data that comes with the other page. Now, further on, basically, you can also work around with more stuff, like, again, add a field. And you can add, more stuff like checkboxes, ratings, lookup, currency, all this stuff. So, again, add a checkbox. Here you are. And give it a field name if you want to. And you can also change the color of the checkbox, which is also a pretty good feature. Add a description. Describe this field if you want to. So let's go with approval. I'm just going to randomly call it approval. I don't know. I'm just, randomly giving it a name. Obviously, you're going to give it a proper structurized name according to your project. Look at that. We created a field called approval. And as you can see, look at how cool that is. You can add different, like this was ticks and this is thumbs up. And as you can see, it just makes your workspace look better. Again, you can also mess around with the colors. So as you can see, the to-do color could be a purple if you want to. Look at that. It turns it to purple. Then the in progress color could be blue. The done color could be, black. You could, as I said, mess around with the colors. Then obviously add more fields to it if you want to. And the more fields could be, users. Let's say you want to tell them which user is doing this on the record. So if I click on user, I'm going to create the field. And look at that. You can choose a user and you can, like this lets people know that, okay, this user is assigned to this task. This user is working on this task. And yeah, so again, pretty great feature to have in your project management workspace. Now, you can also sort the fields if you want to. So if you go on sorting, as you can see, you can sort it by name. You can like keep all the records you want to. Then you can also filter it. Okay, let's say you want a field where it's like all to-dos, like you can filter out the dones, and that's gonna, add the filter to it and just make it better. Now, if you go on plus sign again, you can add dates if you want to. So there we go. I'm gonna click on date, add a date, and look at that. You can start adding dates accordingly if you want to. Now 29, look at that. Start adding dates, and it's pretty simple stuff. And then obviously you can filter like what's the due date could be, under this. And it's obviously going to filter out all the due dates that are going to be under this, etc. Now, obviously there's more fields. One more thing that I forgot to tell, if you want to delete a field, just go and click on the field, click on delete, okay? As so. I'm going to delete these extra fields so I can, have more space to show you the other features. Delete field, and then obviously delete field. Now, you can also do currencies, okay? Now you're probably wondering what currencies is. Currency is basically, let's say a project or a task has, a certain amount of money on it. So you can add currencies, okay? Now in currencies, obviously, first of all, you can mess around with the format. The format could be, dollars, euros, or whatever currency you want to do it in. Now, obviously, on your keyboard, a dollar sign is available, but no other currency is available. So for any other currency, you can just go up here and let's say you want to add the sterling, okay? Sterling currency. You can just add that. And once you add that, as you can see, you have the pound sterling. And then you're just going to go ahead and write here pound sterling symbol. And once you write that, look at that, you get that. And you're just going to go ahead and copy it. And once you copy it, you're going to come here. You're just going to paste it. And there you are. And then you can also choose the precision by which they're going to add the price. Now, 1.00 is best because, 1 sterling, 2 cents, 1 sterling, 3 cents, all that stuff. So that would be best. And then you can just create a field. And as you can see, you can start adding, like, let's say I'm going to add that. And look at that. It's going to keep the money like that. And let's say you want to know why I added like the field. So let's say I'm going to add 98 pounds and 73 cents. Look at that. That's why I added the precision, because cents do matter when you're, putting in a price range or something like that. So cents matter. So please do make sure to add the precision to, a units place, a proper zeros units place, just so you can, add the cents and all that stuff. And obviously you can add, if you do that, as you can see, it also rounds the numbers off. Like if you, keep it at cents and you don't have a proper well-rounded number, then it's going to round it off for you. So that's also a pretty good thing to have. Now, once we've, discussed all of this, all of the, you could say, necessary features and options that Airtable brings you with, let's go and discuss the views. So, first of all, obviously this, what we have here is the grid view. Let's go and discuss the form view. So you're going to click on create new view. And this is your form view. And this is obviously to create yourself some forms. Now, you're probably wondering where would someone use a form? Forms can be used in various places. These could be, a customer care forms. These could be an issue form. This could be a form that someone, fills in if they want to buy a product or something. So forms are used in various places. Now, when it comes to forms, as you can see, this is your default form that they give you. But let's say you want to add something to this form, okay? Now, to add something to this form, let me cross that out. To add something to this form, basically, you're going to get fields over here. So you can add fields to the table, and the fields can be, long text attachments. So let's say you want to add checkbox, field 7. Click on save. Oh, look at that. And you can name it, MCQ. Let's call it that. Or you can even edit it. So I'm going to call it MCQ. There we go. Call it MCQ and add some, you can, add options if you want to. And obviously you can just remove this. And MCQ, as you can see, you can edit it. And to edit it, obviously, you're going to go ahead. Okay, bring this to the side. And once you bring it to the side, show field only when conditions are met. If like, you can add if conditions, like if this is filled, then show this and all that stuff. And you can, constantly add more fields, and you can also preview the form. Like if you click on open form, as you can see, you have all these things. You have all this going on over here, and it's pretty simple and easy stuff. Now, if you close that, now this was obviously, as I said, the form view. Let's go ahead and discuss the calendar view, okay? Now, this is the calendar view. If you click on calendar view, create new view, here you are. So, first of all, choose date fields. Create a date field to place records on the calendar. So, create a new date field. Now, we're going to go and create a new date field. Choose your local time, okay, whatever you want to go with. And once you do that, click on done. And once you click on done, as you can see, you've set up a new column. So now that you have a new column, you can obviously sync your data. First of all, like this is an important thing to discuss. You can sync your data to your Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, or Outlook, okay? Now, this is important because obviously your Airtable needs to know, like if you sync it to your Google Calendar and all that stuff, let's say you have written your schedules down or you've booked your schedules down on your Google Calendar. Now, to obviously, your Airtable will need to know what work needs to be done at what point in, your day or your week or something like that. So for it to know that, obviously, it's gonna need to have a bit of a background of what your daily routine is, what your daily workings is, what you're gonna be doing the rest of the week and all that stuff. So obviously, when it knows that, it's going to implement all that, like when it's synced, it's going to implement all that over here down in your calendar view. And once it implements that, basically from there on out, like it's going to allow you to, optimize your work around with all that stuff, mess around with all those things. And, once you're doing all of that, you're pretty much, easy workings from there. Just, set your tasks, set your tasks according to your project management due dates and all that stuff. And it's just a great feature to have. And again, as I said, sync your data to Google Calendar, Apple Calendar for like the best experience with that. Now, there's also the gallery view. Now, the gallery view is the view that is, you could say, least used because it's okay, it's something, but not a lot of people recommend this because there's not a huge variety of things and it's not very helpful to you once you're, trying to mess with it. So, I'd recommend not using it. Like, in my opinion, I would not use it. I'd rather not use it. And a lot of people don't recommend it. So, just go with the opinion of like tons and tons of project management people who, I doubt they ever use a tool like this. Now, let's go with the powerhouse of all project management softwares. And you're probably wondering, what am I talking about? I am talking about the Kanban view. Now, the Kanban view, as you can see, display your records as cards on a Kanban board. Now, the Kanban view or the Kanban board is one of the most widely used, you could say, tables for project management. And that is because the accessibility and the features and the ease of work, the ease of access that, your Kanban view brings you, it's out of this world. Like you won't be able to imagine how easy it is to work with this and how well it optimizes all your project plans. So, first of all, you're obviously going to choose which single select or collaborator field would you like to use for this Kanban view. Your records will be stacked based on this field. So I'm going to go with, let's say, yeah, let's go with status. Status would be best because all Kanban views mostly work on status. So once you've chosen the right status for yourself, from there on out, now let me like properly show you how you're gonna optimize your workspace according to this, how you're gonna work around with this. Now, to work around with this, first of all, as you can see, it's easily drag and droppable. Okay? Now, what I mean by easily drag and droppable is that you can move around your tasks pretty simply across the table. Okay? And what that does for you, like how that helps you, is by you could say easily messing around. Now, obviously in grid view, as you can see, you're gonna have to go to status and change the status one by one accordingly. But in the Kanban view, you can just, shift it left to right. And that's the accessibility that this feature brings you. So as you can see, like if someone's done with a to-do task, just shift it over here. Or if it's in progress, just shift it over here. If like a task is already done, but you want to do some work with it, just shift it back to do or in progress. And yeah, your team members are going to know what to do with it. And even it's easier for your team. Like let's say they're quickly done with a task and they want to get back to the new one. Obviously going to the grid and changing it would take some time. Now, once we've obviously discussed about, all this stuff, you can also add tasks to, your Kanban chart pretty easily. So let's say you want to add task, you're going to create a new stack, and then just add records. So I'm going to call this discussion. Okay. So let's say you're done with tasks. So if there's, two tasks are done, you can move it to discussion, and then, people could discuss it that yes, okay, this task is done, but is it up to par? Is it what we're looking for? Is it fully, accessible? Are the features up to par? Are the features actually what we want? All that stuff. So that's what the discussion entitles. And as stated, pretty great feature again to mess around with, to work around with, and as I said, Kanban, one of the most important views in all project management, and yeah, pretty important and pretty simple stuff. Now, further moving on, you have the timeline. Okay, now the timeline is to see how your records, such as resources and projects, map over out over time. It's great for determining training, timing, and staffing. And again, pretty great feature to have by your side. Then obviously you have the list view. Now, the list view is basically essentially for listing all and organizing layers of data which are easy to read. So if I were to go and click on list view, I'm just gonna wait for it. And there you are. So as you can see, you can just organize your data in one whole list, add different records. And let's say this is the list. You're going to click on it and show 7 hidden fields. And these are all the fields for, your records in your list. Then obviously you can mess around with multiple records accordingly. Just click on each record, go on their information, mess around with it. And it's pretty easy, pretty simple stuff, as you can see. So as we all know, you can go ahead, set its priorities as well. And it's, as I stated, pretty useful stuff. Now, again, you have the Gantt chart as well, which is the Gantt view. And you can view each record and its dependencies on a Gantt chart. It's great for complex multi-step initiatives. And the Gantt view is available on the Pro plan. So obviously you're going to have to switch to the Pro plan if you want to use the Gantt view. But yeah, you get the point. So basically, switch to the correct view, and once you switch to the correct view, make sure that your all your data and information is entitled correctly and all that. Now, you can also switch to new section. Okay, now in the new section, obviously you can see all the stuff like create a section in the view, sidebar, and add related views to keep your table organized. Then you have a lot of other stuff going on as well. Okay. Now, a Gantt view, as I said, on the Pro plan, only on the Pro plan, but right now we're on like the 14-day trial. So let's go and, get a glimpse of how the Gantt view actually works. Now, it's on the Pro trial because of how overpowered it is when it comes to, your project management. Now, what I mean by overpowered is, all the features that it provides you. Okay. Now, let's, discuss in great depth of all the main features that it brings us with. Now, one of the many features that it brings us is like, let's choose a data in a field. Now there we go. Now once you've chosen a data field, one of the features that it brings you is that you can continue without dependencies. So choose a linked record field for specifying dependencies between records in this table. So you can create a new linked record field if you want to, or continue without it. So I'm going to continue without it, and as you can see, you can start adding fields just like that. And once you add the field, you can give it labels as so. Once you give it labels, click on save. So there you go. Now you just added a field and gave it a label, and you can like, keep it anywhere and then just create new labels if you want to. Again, pretty grand stuff to work around with. Pretty great stuff to get your head behind and all of that. Now, again, pretty simple. What more you can do is that you can, choose different dates for it. Choose different start days, different end, and you can choose different days. And what's fun about the Gantt view is that you get tasks, but you can also get like the calendar view. It's like you could say the grid view and the calendar view combine, and then you can also link tasks if you want to, like choose milestones and stuff. So let's say there's one task, and let's say this is the other task. Okay, we click on save, and you can basically link these two tasks. So if you double click on this, you can add a new field and link it accordingly. Now, to link it, obviously, you're going to have to make sure that these two are linked in the grid view. And once obviously they're linked in the grid view, you can go on settings. And once you go on settings, choose like the proper row height, label fields and stuff. And once you're done with that, easy linking from there. And you're going to have to make sure that the start and end date is the same. Now, you can also, again, mess around with the colors over here as well. So if I go in, click over here, you can see that it gives you different colors. You can also start a conversation with your collaborators that you're, basically your workspace members. Let's keep it in easier words, your workspace members. Now you can collaborate with your workspace members, talk around with them, discuss what you're actually going to do with these tasks, what you're actually going to work with, and all that stuff. So this is a great thing to have for forward communication with your users, with your contacts, with all your main members. Now, once we've discussed about that, let's also go ahead and discuss all the other things in depth. So you can also schedule and unschedule records. You're probably wondering what scheduling and unscheduling your records means. So first of all, you have these records over here, as so. Now, once you have these records over here, you can also, add new records by, as I said, just do this, and you're going to add a new record. So to schedule and unschedule them, you're going to have to make sure that they are in a dependent chart. Like if they're not in a dependent chart, then that's obviously going to give you a little bit issues. But if they're like in a dependent chart from there on out, it's pretty simple to work around with. And it's pretty simple to go forward with it. And, pretty basic stuff, pretty easy stuff. It's easy scrapings, and obviously the Kanban and the Gantt view, one of the best views out there in the market. And I just recommend that you get started with it as soon as you can. Like, just get started with it right away because it's going to give you great things to work with. It's going to give you great features and all that. Now, you can also go ahead and work with, the timeline view. Now, if you go on timeline view and click on create new view, here we are. Now in the timeline view, this is basically, first of all, you're going to choose all the fields you want in the timeline. And once you've chosen the fields, as you can see, you can create new views in the timeline. As you can see, create that, go back if you want to, create it here, create it there. So you get the point. And you can keep stacking on the timeline view if you want to. As you can see, keep stacking, keep stacking, keep stacking, keep stacking, and all that stuff. So you get the point. Pretty easy stuff, pretty easy scrapings and all that. And further on, you can also choose integrations to, keep a time tracker on it. Now, to keep a time tracker, we're going to, head back to grid view. Now, how do you keep a time tracker and, all that stuff? So it's pretty easy. You're going to go on extensions, okay? And in extensions, you're going to click on add extensions. Now, once you click on add extensions, you're going to get tons and tons of different extensions over here. And in a way, you could call these integrations. Now, if you don't know what integrations are, let me explain it in, great depth. So integrations are when you link one service to another service. So you can get, broadened spectrum of features and, much easier workload and workload management and all that, because once you broaden the features for yourself, once you broaden the spectrum of your work, it's pretty easy to get along with the features from there on out. Now, let me give you a good example of what I mean, okay? Now, here we are in the extensions place, marketplace for extensions. Now, first of all, you have the featured extensions, you have the extensions that Airtable provides you itself, and then you have all extensions. You can also build a custom extension if you want to, but obviously for that, you're going to need to contact them and everything, and it's pretty difficult stuff. Now, I'm just going to go and work with the main extensions. So first of all, you have the 4 marketing teams. Supercharge your marketing campaign workflows. Then you have the page designer theme. Design a template page for your records. Then you have scripting, where you can enhance workflows with custom or pre-built scripts. Then you have extensions by Airtable, where you can get, stuff like, build visualizations using Vegalite. You have chart, where you can visualize all your records on a bar, line, pie, or scatter chart. Okay, you have all this stuff. So let's go ahead and, add this just for an example. Let's add this for exemplary purposes. Now, once you add that, here we are in the chart settings, okay? Now, first of all, you're going to choose which table you want to add to your chart. I'm going to go with table 1. Obviously, the view that we're going to go with is the grid view. And you can choose whatever type of chart you want to go with. I'm going to go with the bar chart and click on done. Now, obviously, if your information is not properly scattered, then it's not going to give you a proper chart, but you get the point. Now, obviously, if you go on all extensions, you can get all these things like geocode for Airtable, TaskRobin, Pexels. Now, Pexels is also a great feature because you can browse, search, and attach free stock photos to your work management. And this is obviously to tell people, like, let's say you want to give reference that, okay, if I want the app coded, I want to code it like this. I want it to look exactly like this. If it's not like this, I will not accept it. All that stuff. So, being a proper workload manager and all that stuff. So, you have to keep all these things in consideration when you're working with, your project management and everything. Then further on, you can also, like, one of the most widely used things are the time tracker, okay? Now, a time tracker keeps track of the time spent on tasks, okay? Or you can also add a countdown, which is a countdown to a deadline. Now, for now, I'm going to add a time tracker, and I'm going to click on add extension, and there we go. It starts adding it. Now, here we are with, the time tracker, and as you can see, it's tracking everything. It's adding, let's say we're going to choose this table. Choose the view. I'm going to choose the grid view. Pick that. I'm going to go with name, okay? Now, once you've picked the field, you're going to choose all of this stuff. Again, I'm going to go with name. If it doesn't let you pick anything, you can just go with the other views where it will allow you to pick something. And once, you've picked the thing where you want to have a, you could say proper, status and stuff. Like once you've gone with the proper things, as you can see, we're going to go with this. Then just click on done from there on out, and what's going to happen is it's going to automatically add a time tracker to your, extension. And once it's done that, you can start tracking the time. You can start tracking the time you're spending on a task. You can start tracking, like, you can also time yourself that, okay, I have limited time today and I have a lot of tasks, so I will only spend, like, let's say 10 minutes on a task. So you can start timing yourself, and if like you hit the 10-minute mark, you can stop that task, move to the next one, and if you've like left the one previously, you can just come back to it later on out once you've completed all the other tasks. So you get the point. And I think this feature is great for, your time management, for your work process. It's great to know what you're working with. It's great to know how you're going to optimize your tasks accordingly, all that stuff. So I'd recommend that you do get familiarized with this properly, because it just gives you a great wide variety of options, and it just makes your work ethic better, makes your reaction times better, and makes you more speedy when it comes to working. So yeah, now you can also go ahead and delete the integrations dashboard if you want, and then you also have tools. Now in the tools, you have manage fields, where you can edit fields and inspect dependencies. You have the record templates, where you can create records from a template. And you have insights, where you can understand and improve your base health, okay? Now, obviously, these are tools that you can work on with later on. And obviously, you have templates. So take the work out of adding records and tasks by creating templates. So you can go ahead and create a template for table 1, and the new record template, call it whatever you want, choose whatever, stuff you want to mess around with. And once you've done that, just go ahead, create a template. And as you can see, you have a new record template, and you can start using this on other tables if you want to. So let's say you're going to come to this table, and you're just going to go ahead, choose this template, and you're going to drag it to whatever, workspace you want to drag it to. And yeah, that's how you're going to mess around with record templates. Now, once we've, discussed all of those aspects of Airtable, let's go and discuss one of the most final things, and those are automations, first of all. So, as I said, I'll be discussing automations in great detail later on, so this is that time. And here we have automations, okay? Now, again, what are automations? Automations, in, great detail, are when you do basically one action, and that one action triggers another action. And when that one action triggers another action, that action basically is done through an AI bot. Like, it's not done by any user. So let me give you a real-time example of automation. Okay, so let's say you're browsing the Nike web store. Okay, you're browsing the Nike online store. You're browsing it looking for some shoes. Okay, you're looking for some shoes to buy, and you go ahead on the store, you buy the shoes, you put it in your cart. Well, once you've added it into your cart, from there on out, what's going to happen? Like, they're going to give you some type of confirmation email, aren't they? They're going to tell you that, like, they're going to somehow tell you that, okay, your order has been noted, and we're, like, once we ship it to you, we're going to email you. Okay, so obviously you're going to get that email. So you're going to add something to your cart, and you're going to get an email that, okay, we've confirmed your order. Now, once you get an email, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that that email came to you by a guy, like was a guy or a person sitting at the back of the computer in the Nike company and, just waiting for someone to order a shoe? No, that's not how it is, because that would like overwork the employees. Like, they would wait ages and ages for an order, and as soon as the order comes, they would, send an email. That's not how things work. Basically, what happens is they've added automations to their system. And basically, as I told you, automation is one action that triggers another action. So in this case, what happened was the action that triggered the other action, like the first action, was me buying the shoes, me adding the shoes to my cart and checking out. That was the first action. Now, the other action, like, this was the trigger, and this triggered the other action, which was me getting an email that, hey, we just confirmed your order and we're going to ship it to you in a few days. Now, that's automation. So that was basically an automated robot that automatically sent me an email from one action. So you get the point, and that's what automation is. And it's pretty necessary once you're in, the whole workspace of things. Okay. Now, in, Airtable's context, automation basically, as you can see, let Airtable do the work for you by automating your most common tasks. So let's say we're going to go ahead and add a trigger. So let's say when a record is created, okay? When a record is created, just choose the action, add advanced logic or action. We're going to click on that. And here we are. So when a record is created, as you can see, send email, create record, update record, find record, all this stuff. So let's go with send email, okay? So when a record is created, send email. Now, enter a description if you want to. I'm just going to enter something randomly. Configuration, action will to. Now, select the email that you want to email it to. So I'm going to, let's say, choose my spam email, okay? I'm going to choose a spam email that I want to get this on so I can, test it and actually show you that this stuff actually works. Let's choose the subject. I'm going to call it test for automation. I'm going to call it test for automation as so. And once you've chosen that, you're going to, choose a proper message like, hi, this is just a random test for automation. And once you've added that, we're going to go ahead, and if there's any attachment to add, you can add that as well. And when the attachment is added, just click on generate a preview. You can see how it's going to look. So sometimes it's going to give a testing error. Cannot email non-collaborators to the current billing plan. So obviously you're going to make sure that the person you're emailing it to is a proper collaborator in your current plan. Now, obviously, currently we're on a like trial, so it's not gonna do well for us right now. But once that is done, it's gonna send us email. So obviously, I'm just gonna go ahead and send the email to a collaborator in this case. So I'm gonna add the email that I picked off. So here's the email. As so, I'm just gonna add that. And once you've added that, go ahead and confirm it again. Test step, generate preview. And in this case, it's gonna work because we're like a proper collaborator. And once you've, added yourself as a collaborator, just go ahead, run the history if you want to, and just test automation. And once you test automation, basically what's gonna happen from there on out is it's gonna basically, send you stuff. And from there on out, yeah, you're gonna be good to go. So test this step, choose record. Okay, once you just test this step, fix the testing error, and once all of that is done, you're good with your automation. So your automation is good to go from there. And yeah, now once you've run your automation, once everything is properly tested, you're gonna go back and you're gonna add more automations if you want to. Okay, now adding more automations the same way. Just come up here, click on, add logic and add these stuff, and from there on out, just add automations. Now, once we've discussed about automation, let's go ahead and discuss about interfaces. So, drag and drop your data into action. With Interface Designer, even your most complex workflows become easy to read and take action on for everyone on your team. Now, in this case, as you can see, your automation isn't live. Are you sure you want to leave this automation without turning it on? I'm going to go and I'll do this later. Now, Interface Designer is basically you creating your custom design for an interface. Now, a custom design for an interface can obviously, work wonders for you because in the interfaces, you could say, in the interface context, it works pretty well with the, what you want. So if you go on start building, design a simpler way to work. Create custom interfaces that give the right people the right information with Interface Designer. Now, first of all, you can choose a use case. Start with templates built around common use cases, okay? Then power it with data. Select the table you want to pull data from, and then you have customize and share, where you can bring your data to life with visual elements, then share with your team. Now, you can also, let's say we're going to click on next, as so. And once you go there, interfaces are meant to be shared, so choose a name your team can reference. I'm going to call this one new interface, as so. You can, choose a color, a logo and stuff. You're going to choose the layout for it. I'm going to choose Kanban. And once you do that, I'm going to click on next, choose, whatever table you're going to go for, whatever, status, and here you are. Now you can go ahead and start designing your stuff. So first of all, we're going to allow the users. So let's say if you want to give them different tabs. So, tab where name contains and all this stuff, you can add conditions. And once you're done with that, just click on done and you can publish it. So the interface can be published to, your workspace. So different people in your workspace, like your workspace members, can see it and they can work around with it. Okay. Now, once obviously you've discussed about all of that in great depth, from there on out, what you can do is, just go ahead into the workings of Airtable, and yeah, pretty much that's like most of the things that there are to discuss Airtable. Now, one final thing is the Airtable pricings and plans, okay? So if you go over here, Airtable pricings, okay? Here we are. And this is obviously going to be your Airtable pricing. So if you go here and compare the plans for its pricings, let's go ahead and do this. So here we are. So obviously there's the free plan, and in the free plan, you're going to get unlimited bases, up to 5 creators or editors, unlimited commenter and read-only users, interface designer, 1 extension per base, 1 sync integration, 1200 records per base, 2 gigabytes of attachments per base, and all that stuff. Then you have the plus plan, which is for teams looking to create connected apps to manage their own workflows. It's $10. You're going to be, obviously billed per annually, per monthly, depends on whatever plan you want to go with. And obviously, you get the most popular plan, which is the Pro plan for teams and departments who basically need to build connected apps to power their most important processes. And you can get extensions per base, 7 sync integrations, including Jira Cloud. You have 50,000 records per base, 20 gigabytes of attachments per base, Gantt and timeline views. You have granular interface permissions, 1-year revision, and snapshot history. Personal and locked views, field and table editing privileges, and all that stuff. And then finally, there's the enterprise plan where you're going to have to contact the sales department to, discuss how you want to, work with the enterprise plan. But yeah, you get the point. You get how you're going to work with Airtable. Like, it's a great platform, pretty robust, pretty basic, and pretty easy to work with. Now, that's basically it for this video. If you enjoyed watching it, please do make sure to drop down a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to, see more videos like this and discuss more things like this in the future, please let me know down in the comments below and I'll make more videos for you. But yeah, that's probably it. Thank you for watching this video till the end. I hope you all keep having a great day. That was all from me, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.